Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show.
We're back live, no longer in person, and I don't know about you, Alex, but I'm
Big sad.
kind of missing the in-person setup.
I will
Yeah,
absolutely die on this hill.
The video wasn't as clean, but my God, it was infinitely better.
Yeah. Well, it was the same camera. It just
I just our
Yeah.
our little solo shots here.
I know, right? Isn't it cute?
Dude,
We're gonna
speaking
figure
of
it out.
things
Yeah.
that are just bumming me out. So as we
No.
wind down the lifespan of this app potentially
Not ideal.
Yeah.
on TikTok, that is, TikTok has seen it fit to bestow upon me the right to use it in dark mode for the first time.
Oh my gosh. They have a dark mode?
Yeah,
Wild.
you have it.
I
it's
do?
not- it was an Apple only thing until
Oh,
apparently
wow.
this morning.
Oh my god.
So
How wild. Well,
I'm gonna
enjoy
make
it while it
my tea
lasts.
and be sad.
Enjoy it while it lasts. And if you're here with us, joining us perhaps for the first time, or you're tuning in again, then let me say welcome or welcome back. We're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time to answer your crypto questions, to share helpful news, commentary, the occasional good joke, and word of wisdom. And this is the best way to learn about topics like cryptocurrency. If you are struggling to understand something new, then join a community of people who are working on understanding it too. You'll accelerate your learning journey. You share what you know, everybody grows together, and we say rises up. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, as you ask us your questions today, I also want to invite you to join the free Rise Up Discord server. It's at discord.gg/riseup. We might not see your question on the show today, tomorrow, Wednesday, but if you post your question there, we absolutely will see it. It's full of learners at all levels of experience. The only thing missing is you. And speaking of things that are missing, I want everyone to give a nice birthday welcome to William
There he
Watson. What's going on, Will? How you doing, man? Happy birthday, brother. Hang on. Say it again.
Maine.
Say it one more time.
I'm good.
Evan.
I'm good. It's a good day up in Maine.
Yeah.
Evan rugged you on
Wow.
your birthday. Happy birthday.
That's fine. It's my birthday present. A rug.
No, it's okay, man.
But it's good. It's 0 degrees, so I'm not going to be getting too much skiing in because yesterday I was dealing with -8.
Golly.
So, you got one run and you had to go inside, and then we were like, okay, cool. We'll do one run. We'll go inside and get another drink. But we ended up. Oh, Michelle. Sorry, a friend's here. My window looks directly out onto the path. She left her boots. Okay, you can get her boots. That'd be great. Thank you. I'm in a show.
I'm working here.
But anyway, yeah. So we took one run down, and then we went down a certain trail, but one of the trails was closed that we needed to get back to the chairlift to get up to the bar on top of the mountain. So then we had to accidentally take 2 runs, and then we had frostbite on our cheeks. When your cheeks go white. Yeah, so that was fun. But anyway, so I won't be doing too much skiing today, sadly.
Sorry to hear it, man, but I
No,
hope that you have a birthday that's good nonetheless.
I will not donate some coin. I don't know if you're asking for it or if... I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you.
I got nothing for you. Well, do you have
Anyway,
any?
how you guys doing?
We're
Sorry, I'm very distracted. Kind of took you guys out of your tempo.
No, you're fine, man. Just chill. It's your birthday. You can do what you want to. We're doing good. We were just lamenting
cry if
not
you
being in an IRL live studio because, man, it's hard to beat that, you know?
It is hard to beat that, but I do have Doge.
That does help.
And
Yes.
Banana William.
And there he is.
Hello, William.
What's up, Banana Man? How you been?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm good.
Are you going to come back to the show regularly and do a banana segment, or is this just like an occasional, it's lucky when we see it, and you got a banana?
No, he's just always got a banana.
Permanent
Yeah.
feature.
You came prepared, Tori says. Well,
I keep that thing on me.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well,
Also, guys, this is our childhood room.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Bunk beds. Yeah,
for each
and then bunk beds, one for each William.
All the Williams.
All the Williams.
Tell me why.
Bullish on bunk beds, though.
bullish on
Yeah, right.
piles
Bunk
of
beds are great.
Williams.
Yeah,
Piles
absolutely.
of Williams.
Looks like Alpid's birthday was on the 20th. Happy belated birthday, Alpid. Another December
man.
birthday boy. We love to see
Happy
it.
birthday.
My mother's birthday was on the 19th,
Is that right?
and yep, and
Linda.
yesterday. Wait, no, day before yesterday. She's no longer with us, unfortunately, but would have been my grandmother's. Let's see. Oh no, I just like to keep track because it's insane. 106 would have
Wow.
been. But
Well, to everybody who's celebrating a birthday this December, we celebrate with you. Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Capricorns, Earth signs. Woo.
the
That's
ultimate
Earth
Stars.
sign energy.
Okay,
Victor Machinery
so
says Will could have been the spokesperson for Banana Gun. The other way.
could have been.
The other
You're right.
William.
Go ahead,
Ready.
Alex. I think I rugged you.
You did. It's okay. We're the one thing that like is so much easier in person is like reading when someone's sentence is over, or like the flow of conversation is so much
So
easier.
and so other things I wanted to talk about now was
And so anyway, well, you got spoiled. We got spoiled a little bit, and so it's gonna. I feel like I can feel that it is, in addition to me being big sad, it's just not quite as nice. But Will, just because
But-
I know that you've got stuff and it's your birthday, and I'm sure you have plans and things to do. Inquiring minds want to know just about kind of where we're at, and I figured we could kick off with an update. And I'm gonna start you with the question because I'm personally more unsure than like I've pretty much ever been. So, for context, right? Bitcoin ripped in the last couple months, pretty insane. So it's really weird to be sitting in a sea of comments about how the bull market is over now and everything is cratered and dead when Bitcoin is still at like $95,000+.
right.
Because like pretty recently it was like in the 60s and we were all freaking out about how amazing this was, and here we are now at 95, lamenting the death of the bull run, which is wild to me.
So it always happens though,
But of course, dominance is dominance, and altcoins are very bloody today, or this week. So I'm just curious, as you zoom out a little bit and look at more factors and stuff, kind of what are you looking at? What are you seeing right now?
Well, if inflation stays sticky, we could very likely have a recession in 2025, and then everything except for Bitcoin probably goes down. Bitcoin in the short term goes down, and then Bitcoin ultimately recovers. And I don't know about your altcoins.
I don't know about
That's
your
the thing.
altcoins.
I mean,
that
like,
could be the
there's
Christmas
the thing,
chorus.
Like the inflation, not inflation, the recession is still absolutely on the table. Because if inflation stays as sticky as it has the past couple months, the odds of us not getting any rate cuts next year increase, and the odds of us actually seeing rate hikes, seeing the Fed have to repivot back to try to tackle inflation, would send markets crashing. Another thing you also got to keep your eyes on right now is you got to look at Japan again. The markets at the end of July absolutely collapsed with something that's called the Japanese carry trade. The simple explanation of this is that it was so favorable to borrow money in Japanese markets and invest it in Japanese markets that people did it to the tunes of hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of like 12, 15 years. And then Japan made a change with their currency, with their interest rates, and that caused a whole bunch of that money to be liquidated. That's why markets across the globe and Bitcoin sold off like crazy. And right now, another thing you have happening in Japan is they have an interest to raise interest rates again at some point, but they're usually super slow about it. So we probably got some time. But the problem is if you look at the yen and dollar ratio, it's right about at the same level where all those liquidations happened before. Now, we've had 6 months for people to de-risk and deleverage their positions in Japanese markets, so it's not a huge concern anymore, but it is still a concern put on top of the inflation fears we have, put on top of weakening jobs market data that we got in November, put on top of slower than expected U.S. retail sales in the month of November, you see the U.S. economy starting to slow down. And so if we get bad numbers for the month of December, woo-wee, it's going to be a tough start to the year.
Did you just say?
Wee.
Yes, but the ooh-wee I gave had a different tone to it,
Oh,
and
sorry,
it's
yeah.
used in a different way.
Got it.
You know,
Context.
I think we could have
Come on,
an
Evan.
entire board of ooh sounds.
Honestly, and
No.
still working on the dolphin sound. Okay, so then going into the what does that change your playbook at all? It sounds like it's to be expected.
It changes it to like, hey, if we can get like one more altcoin rally, maybe I just like keep the larger stablecoin stack, and instead of buying the altcoins on a dip, I buy Bitcoin on the dip.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's a recession, I mean, your altcoin's going down 99%. Doesn't matter what it is, except for Ethereum and Solana, just because they're too big. You know, and the only thing that's going to recover, that you can like guarantee is going to recover, is going to be Bitcoin, because there's going to be so much fear in the market that people will feel safer with Bitcoin, and you're still going to have the nation states buying it. You're still going to have your MicroStrategies buying it, your Michael Dell's buying it. You're going to have more people diving into Bitcoin and viewing it as risk off because of that wave of demand, at least more risk off than anything else. And then the United States, maybe they pass Senator Cynthia Lummis's bill and that starts going up in value, right?
Yeah.
So like, do altcoins go up in value too when Bitcoin goes up in value? Yeah. Have we ever seen that in a recession? No, we just don't have that data. So like, are altcoins tied to Bitcoin? Yes, very much so in a strong way. But are they way more risk on? Yes. Do you go into risk on assets in a recession? No. No, you do not. So,
Yeah.
you know, that all comes down to like, I don't know what's going to happen, but like, you know, if we get some bad data for the month of December, I might look to start deleveraging way out of altcoins and go more into stable coins and Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously this kind of stuff happens in bull runs, and there's always other factors to consider. But you know, as I'm like looking through history, you know, one of the weird things is that we didn't get one sooner, which worried me a bit. You know, it was way harder up for a lot longer, and we hit that 100,000 the first time and didn't, like, we sat there for a lot longer than I expected, and above it for a lot longer than I expected, and still haven't seen, like, I mean, you know, like we were talking about, there's that gap on the CME futures chart. What is it, Will? Like 77 or 78?
$77,063.
So there's that, which is interesting because we kind of rocketed past it and then have made like no indication of going back over there. And I'm trying really hard to remember like a time in the how many years that I've been watching this stuff where we had this thing where Bitcoin like crushed an all-time high, then made another one, then made another one, and then never really corrected or retraced for any serious amount of time. Like, this is the first time in this bull cycle that I've seen all the comments full of it's all over, everything's done. And usually I get to see that like 6 or 7 different times before.
I don't know, we saw that in April.
Yeah, I feel like we've been
yeah,
seeing it
in
a lot.
March, but
April to July was a pretty sad time for people.
no, for sure. But there was still so many people at that point who were saying, you know, because of where we are with relation to the halving, because of what kind of time in the traditional 4-year cycle like period it was, that nothing had even started, that it was all just like pre-halving run up and jitters because there were like new people, even though like data shows that retail wasn't really doing too much at that point, that it was mostly non-retail money because of course we had ETFs passed in January.
Yeah.
Which just have changed the game. So I don't know. It's a weird one.
Well, you have the thought of what do I want to talk about first? The gaps. Let's say gaps on, my dog's hitting my mic. Here we go. Gaps do have a tendency to get filled, but not 100% of the time. gaps on the daily chart tend to get filled, but we do have gaps on the daily chart of the S&P 500 that have never been filled, and they never will be filled, and are way further down. That's the traditional market. Bitcoin now is becoming the traditional market, and actually it could even be more aggressive. The likelihood of there being a smaller percentage of gaps being filled on Bitcoin's chart are far more likely moving forward than the S&P 500. The reason why is you have the same amount of money plugging into Bitcoin now as you do to the traditional market, right? So it should be a 1-to-1 from a ratio standpoint. However, it should be more so in favor of there being more gaps on the chart for Bitcoin because of how hard of an asset Bitcoin is, which is an additional lever there, right? It's less inflationary than gold today. It'll eventually be zero. You can lose Bitcoin, right? So technically, I mean, not technically, but in reality, it is deflationary. So you have the hardest asset in the world combined with all this demand. There should be more opportunities for gaps to be left unfilled. It'll still be less than 50% of the time. Like in the stock market, it's just over 90% of the time. In Bitcoin's market, it's actually just over like 83 or 84% of the time. I expect that to fall to like 70% of the time as we continue to move forward. But, still, it's hard to bet against it, in my personal opinion, with gaps. And I think today in the market is actually going to be a really interesting time to see how far Bitcoin can actually fall right now. Because if you think about this week, right? This week, if you're an ETF person, you're a large retail investor, or you're a bank or an investment company or a nation, yada, 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 right? You're big. You're bigger. The biggest volume day this week will be today because no one's doing shit Christmas Eve. The market's closed on Christmas. No one's doing anything the day after Christmas. So the only real volume we're going to get that's going to set the tempo for this week is going to be today. If the ETFs buy, I think that sets the tempo of like, hey, maybe 90K really was our base, which if you look at the chart that I've been posting, has a key historical trend line acting as support that's been there for 3 years, 4 years, something like that. However, if they're selling, us falling down, the next major area of support is at 84,000, and like a quick dip below it just to close that gap could very easily happen and probably get scooped up super, super fast. If that happens, I will be scooping up some stuff, probably Morpho, probably Aerodrome, maybe even a little bit of Bitcoin, even if I'm on the ski lift getting frostbite on my fingers.
Yeah, I would like to think in that scenario that, you could see it because, okay, if take Arrow, for example, if it's sitting at, $1.50 or something like that, and you've got Bitcoin at what, 95.7 right now, down just a little smidgen on the day, but honestly holding better than I thought it would on its like little mini V-shaped recovery after it went down to, the high 91s or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would be super
I think Doug is right, though.
That's what I'm hopeful for, as I see Doug.
Yeah.
Do you have his comment pulled up? Will you read it? Because mine scrolled right past.
Yeah, it's just like Bitcoin going sideways for the rest of the ideals, his ideal scenario. I think it going sideways is also fantastic because if it goes sideways, altcoins could actually play a little bit. But also at the same time, you would allow, for me, when I look at the weekly chart, the 12-week and the 21-week exponential moving averages are bottoms for Bitcoin in every single bull run, every single time. And that would allow them to actually get up to where Bitcoin's price is currently today, that Bitcoin's price being allowed to fall, which would be an incredibly bullish sign for Bitcoin moving forward into the rest of 2025.
I don't know.
That would be great. I just don't know if that can happen because that just seems too optimistic.
It seems very optimistic, and I'm seeing I'm not seeing like doom. Are we over? But I feel like I'm seeing a lot of cope on the timeline. I feel like we have a really insular perspective. You know what I mean? Like our audience is a lot of people who are really paying attention to this stuff, and so I always try to take our sentiment here with like a grain of salt. But I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of cope, like a lot of need this to happen, which is tough. Tori asked, what does go sideways mean? Generally speaking, it just means that instead of going significantly up or down, the price kind of just day by day, we add another candle to the chart and it hasn't really gone up. It hasn't really gone down. The line on the chart goes sideways. And so I don't know. I feel like that creates that kind of cycle though. And maybe it's just because of the particular audience that we have that I'm seeing so much of that. Are you guys seeing that too? I just feel like there's a lot of that going on, a lot of cope.
Definitely. And I mean, people.
Yeah, it's because. Go ahead.
People who are like who haven't done this before, it sucks. Like I can say it a gajillion million times. If you don't learn to take profits, like this is how you're going to learn the lesson, because something like this is going to happen and it's going to really stress you out.
Or you won't.
Or you won't. You know, and the answer is not necessarily just to keep buying more stuff, which is always the way that, you know, idiots tell you to handle this exact moment. You know, and the reason that I'm not stressed, and I really don't like talking about this, but honestly, sometimes it kind of needs to be said. I don't like to be an "I told you so" kind of person, but like, you take profits. Remember how many people made fun of Will for de-risking and taking profits, and now we're in this position where the only thing that's stressing me out is like, do I want to buy it here, or, you know, where do I think things are going to go based on, you know, XYZ, whatever. The reason you're not worried long term is because in 10 years, no one's going to care what Bitcoin's price was right now, you know, because it's going to be more than it is. But right now, it absolutely matters. Right now, people are stressed out. People are upset and they're freaked out because you are over leveraged. You put in way more than you could afford to lose. You didn't take a single profit. And now you are doing the cope thing with your XRP bag, for example, because it absolutely rocketed on a 600%. You didn't sell a single penny of it because some dipshit told you it was going to 10,000. And now, like Evan said, it's cope. So the one thing that does annoy me right now is the price matters. I'm sorry to say the price action matters because a ton of people are in a bad position because they didn't do it right. And it's kind of just this thing, like it's weird that people jump face first into, you know, day trading, hyper speculative, very volatile assets as their first like foray into experimenting with finance.
Yeah.
And you do that after an entire lifetime of like barely, you know, learning anything about personal finance or research or, you know, whatever. And, you know, not to knock the DYOR stuff, but like that's not helpful because you can't tell someone who has never learned any of it to do your own research. What does that even mean?
Right.
It's like a mostly useless acronym. So I just wanted to say, you know, that in the grand scheme of things, it's okay to be freaked out right now. You need to take a lesson from this if you're really upset and really stressed. And I've been there. And I'm not there right now because I made all those mistakes. So I'm just like trying my damnedest to tell you that if you are up majorly on one of these things, especially if you bought late, and by that I mean you weren't buying stuff in 2022, profits are a good thing to do. And it's because things like this will happen and you can either bag hold through the whole thing and just wait for it, or you can prepare and be strategic and maybe miss some of the gains in order to secure your position.
And taking profit and how to take profit, like the way to think about your price targets, the way to think about how you're building conviction to get to that number, and then also like the actual practice of securing the bag a little bit at a time on the way up. That's something we talk about on this show all the time, and we can get into the nitty-gritty of it in just a bit. But Will, I want to be mindful of your time, and I want to ask you before you gotta go, can you explain more clearly and explicitly what it means again to have a gap in the chart and that gaps get filled? We had a couple times that question.
Yeah, so this isn't on the regular chart for Bitcoin. This is called the spot chart. Because again, guys, you have two markets. You have spot markets and you have futures markets. Spot market is where you go and you buy the actual asset. You are buying Bitcoin, you get to take it and put it in your wallet. That's spot market. Futures market is where you do longs and shorts. Longs, you're betting the asset will go up. Shorts, you're betting it'll go down. You can use leverage. You'll probably lose all your money, but good luck, have fun. Futures markets for Bitcoin happen on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME. This is a traditional market. Because it's a traditional market, it is not open 24/7, but the price of Bitcoin is. So I'm just going to pick some round numbers here. If the futures market, which closes on Friday, Bitcoin's price is at $100,000. But the futures market doesn't open again until like Sunday night or Monday morning, whatever it is. During that time, when the futures market isn't on, let's say Bitcoin goes up to $105,000. So when the futures market turns on, Bitcoin's price was here and now it's here, and you have this gap. And so let's say Bitcoin's price continues to go upwards and it's at $120,000. That gap, odds are, and Bitcoin's chart, it's about 85% of the time, you can pretty reasonably bet that the price will come down and fill that gap between $100,000 to $105,000. That's the gap, and that's filling it with future price action. And that works in both scenarios, to the bull side and the bear side.
So,
That's it. There you
and
go.
if somebody, and this is what do you have a visual companion of this too? If somebody wants to see what that looks like, I feel like I've seen a video from you explaining this, and if not,
Yeah, I've included it in just about every single update.
I thought
So if you go on tradingview.com, which is the site I use for my graphs and charts, all that kind of stuff, the symbol for the Bitcoin futures chart is BTC1, the number 1, and then exclamation point. Sometimes I put in BTC1 exclamation point and it doesn't come up. So other times I just put in BTC and I just scroll down until it says futures market and I just click that one.
got it.
And then you can see that.
Thank
So
you
that's
again.
that. But yeah, guys, I gotta start going pretty soon. But one thing that I'll tell everybody is, just tagging on to what Alex said. You know, I have probably, it's less than a third, but it's pretty close of a third of what was my altcoin bag in stable coins, all profitable. And that's just sitting there earning me interest now. And yeah, I'm still very exposed to the market's ups and downs right now. But you want to know what? I don't care, because I got a big old fat bag of stable coins earning me interest that I don't have to worry about. And if it goes down, I go, cool. I get to put in a third of what was my altcoin position into super low coins and potentially make a quick trade. You know, amazing. And hey, if it goes up, you want to know what? Amazing. I'm pumped because I have 2/3 roughly of my bag going up in value, and my stable coins, yeah, they're not going up as much, but you know what? They're still earning me something. They're earning me a little bit. And then when I see another dip, I can buy in with confidence. Either scenario, I win. And that's the scenario and situation you want to put yourself in. No matter what happens, I win. Am I going to make... And also, another thing. When you measure the bottom of a chart to the top of a chart and you're like, oh my God, this thing did 700%, you will never make that 700%. That's just what the chart did. What the chart did and what you will ultimately make are going to be less, even if you time it perfectly. You just can't. It's just not how markets work. You're not going to get that 700%. Maybe you get the 300%, the 400%. And guess what? That's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking sweet, dude. So yeah, you're never going to get whatever the headlines that are on Twitter, and this thing went up, blah, 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 blah. You're never going to get them. You never will. Neither will I. And odds are I'm better at this than you are. And I'm never going to get that shit. I'm never going to get that shit. Some of you are way better than me.
Luck.
Yeah, and if you do, it's luck, guys. It's just how the market works. So as long as your stack of cash is going up, it doesn't matter at what pace, as long as it's going up, that's the only thing that matters.
Well said, man. Thanks for the wisdom on your birthday. Go enjoy the time with your family, and we'll catch up to you soon, brother. Ladies and gentlemen,
Bye,
Mr.
guys.
William Watson.
I love you all.
Good to see you, man.
Nope,
Take care.
I can't leave.
I can't
I'm sorry.
leave. I'm trapped. Well, there he goes. He's always a good time with Will on the show. If you have a crypto question, this is the place for it. We're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I just want you to know, if you're one of our friends in the audience like Travis down there and you don't see my messages, that's totally okay. The benefit of having a microphone is we can talk to each other directly. Travis, everybody listening, if you would like to call into the show and come on up and be in a box, all I ask is that you join the Discord server first. It's totally free, and let's make some time to talk to each other. We would love to have a radio style call-in show where everybody anywhere can call, but the moderation is not that strong on TikTok. And you may or may not know this, but if you have somebody up who says something, even by mistake, that the platform doesn't agree with, then it could kill our whole show. And we value this too much. It's nothing personal against you at all. We'd love to just spend some time with you and talk to you and see, what your take is, etc., so we can facilitate a great conversation and keep the audience safe. I would love that. And if you really want to come up, Travis, man, I'd be so glad to have you. And you, yes, you, if you've got a crypto question, we'd like to see it below. What do you think, Alex?
Oh man. Well, it's officially that time. So
What time is that time, Alex? That time,
I love you, man. But
of
if
the
you
month?
if you just listened to Evan's entire answer to how to get on stage and immediately followed it up with, "Okay, cool. Can I just come up really quick, brother?"
Yeah, no, we'd love to have you up. But
just do the thing.
all you got to do is join
thing.
that Discord server and let us get to know you a little bit. And if you are somebody we know and you've changed your profile picture and we don't recognize you, remind us it's the thing from the guy in the place, and I'll never forget that.
No, and listen, look, okay, I'm getting a little bit. Travis, no one would disagree with you for being unorthodox, and I've seen every comment that you're posting today, and you're certainly not the only person. Okay, so this is sort of just like a blanket thing. Whenever this happens in the market, several things happen every single time. Okay, there's a lot of people who will put shame on anyone who's in a bad financial position right now because you should have known better. That's so sad. Because oftentimes, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything, oftentimes the people who are telling you that, like, hey, you deserve to lose money if you are just down huge and didn't take a single lick of profit, you're the same people who give people unsolicited advice on the way up about how, don't worry about it, just listen to me. You couldn't possibly keep up with me. Just get in there. Like, this is a great asset. This thing is awesome. Listen to me. Blah, 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 blah. You're spoon feeding bullshit to people. And then you get mad at them when they like aren't fully educated on the back end. So right now, there's cope happening. There's anger and frustration happening. It's the same every time. Okay, if you want to actually help people, pull the lesson out of it. And go from there. Okay, how can you communicate this stuff to someone who's new, who's trying to learn, who has not been given good teachers, who hasn't been shown where the information exists, who maybe doesn't even know how to research something properly? Because looking up information on the internet, it's free and easy, but it's also not super intuitive.
It's difficult.
It's very easy to look at the wrong stuff, and some wrong information is extremely convincing. So, if you, Lois, right here, don't understand when to take profits, it seems really daunting. And all you really need to do is just, hey, sell it when you're way up. If you find, someone was just saying in the comments that they've been in Solana since $10, should they take any profits? If you haven't taken profits on Solana and you bought it at $10, what are you doing? That's insane to me, because you're looking at an 18x from your bottom right now, or from your buy right now, and it's like down.
Yeah.
So
I would like to go ahead.
No, if you want to come up and you would like to share an opinion, no one's going to stop you from doing it because you're unorthodox or because you have something aggressive to say or because you're passionate about something, you have strong opinions or whatever. And we can only say it so many times, talk to us offline or you're not coming on the stage. It's really that simple, and it's not personal. It's just that we've been burned before by people who we had seen in the chat repeatedly and then let them on stage and literally just started screaming racial slurs. So again, not saying that anyone in here is going to do that, but just do us a favor, and for our peace of mind, let's talk offline a little bit. It's really easy to find us. Like, we are chronically online. So just jump into the Discord and say hi, and we'll chat, and then we'll make a time to get you up here. It's really that easy.
And so we do have a couple requests from friends we know. So we're going to get to those. We're going to get to your questions about taking profits, because this is a really good recurring question that we can go a little deeper on. Alex said, just buy low, sell high, and just do it. But let's talk a little more about how you might build the conviction to take profits. To answer the question, is this a good time? I do want to say also that if you want to get our attention, honestly, the fastest way to get my attention is if you made a video and tagged me in it. I would just love that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's a nice video, but if you have a sincere question about crypto or you want to say, hey, let me up on the show, I would welcome that. So with the understanding that we're going to have a little profit talk in a minute, I do want to welcome Nick to ask a question, share what you know, and let us know how things are going for you. How you doing? Welcome to the show, Nick. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. How are y'all?
Doing good,
Love
man.
you.
Thanks for coming back up. Thanks for your patience.
I'm always in my car. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Doug's always in a bathroom. You're always in a car. We're moving around the world, so it's good. It's good to see you, man.
But no, everything's good. I just wanted to come up and talk, just to kind of preach some of the stuff I preach in the way I talk on, my chat and everything. But I just read charts because I've done that for like 4 to 5 years. It's something that works for me, and it seems to kind of give stability in my view. So some people don't chart read. I do. I also have conviction in like higher echelon products that I think have better tech. And that's generally what I go off of, is tech, not necessarily off of the, the differences in opinions of the Solana maxis, the Sui maxis, the Bitcoin maxis. I don't own any Bitcoin, to be quite frank. I'm just, one of those guys that has convictions in high plays. And that's kind of how I look at it, is everything in crypto is kind of a high risk. So you're better off going for something that might change the future than something that may work for 2 years.
Well, thank you very much. You talked about reading charts. How would you recommend somebody learn to go about doing that if they're really trying to get into that for the first time? Do you have any suggestions?
The best way for me is just simple stuff like cup and handles. Like, just look at it from a standpoint
this is the name of a particular pattern that appears frequently on a chart. Yes, and often means something. Okay.
Yeah. So it's essentially just looking at the bottoms and the tops and kind of charting based off of that. If you've ever seen Doug on here, I watch Doug a lot, and Doug charts crypto and stocks. And he does it generally before y'all show comes on. He's very good at what he does. I just normally follow what he does, and I kind of make my own opinions and chart myself afterwards. But if you're ever interested in learning charting, Doug's very good at it.
Yeah, Doug is good, and he's in the Discord. He's got a stream that starts before ours. He's in the Discord. He's pretty available. And we also have another friend, Magic Internet Money, who's on YouTube mostly. He used to be here on TikTok a lot, but he does fantastic educational overviews and deep dives if you want to understand what we call technical analysis, which is reading charts. Will's good at it too. We hope to have a class on that sometime in the new year, but you don't have to do that to be able to build conviction. And we can get to that in just a second, but we do have a few more requests and questions, so I'd like to keep it moving. But Nick, I want to get your final thought, your word of wisdom, your good joke as people move into Christmas and the new year. What do you got?
Buy the dip.
By the dip. Short, simple, and sweet. Well, listen, brother, thank you for coming up and hanging out with us. Everybody, give Nick claps, send him roses on the way out. And Nick, we'll catch you in the chat. Yeah. And we'll see you again on the show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all bringing me up. And if y'all ever need any ICP talk, I'm definitely your guy.
We know you're the guy, man. Thank you so much. Have a great day, brother.
Yes, sir. Y'all too. Merry Christmas.
You have Merry Christmas to you, Nick. Absolutely. Now, okay, that was helpful. One step at a time. We're getting a lot of good questions though, so I wanted to keep it going here. Go ahead.
That's a very specific skill that there's a bunch of resources on. So charting is not one of my strengths. So I don't even try.
No,
honestly, because I'm not interested, and I know that I'm like behind, so I just don't have the time. I know enough to look at one and know what I'm looking at, but not identifying patterns and all that kind of good stuff. But I think Nick is right. I think if that is a thing that you're like, hey, this is interesting to me, great. There are a gajillion excuse me, resources to get started on, and try putting the basics together to read charts and add that skill to the repertoire, to your portfolio of skills.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to I want to know where you want to take this. I said we talk a little about profits. We also got the great question, how do NFTs work? One of my very favorites. and several others in the chat. If we're missing your question, don't hesitate to post it like a second time. Please don't spam it, because it doesn't help. But just on that topic of buying low and selling high, I think that people really struggle to see on a chart or know from a crypto token's price like what those levels of low and high ought to look like. You know, they see a token like Bitcoin at a price like $100,000, and then they see a token like XRP at $3, and they wonder to themselves like, okay, can XRP ever reasonably get to the price that Bitcoin is at? And if it could, then why would I sell it at $3 if it could go to $10,000? And the things I want to address before I kick it to you are, first of all, you can't compare cryptocurrencies, just all of them, to each other, because not all these things are the same. Some of these represent companies like a stock does. Some of these represent the ability to help govern a protocol or piece of technology. And often the price in crypto is just a reflection of hype, of mind share. Cryptocurrency is a venture style investment. And what that means is that most of these companies who have tokens you can buy, they don't have a product or service yet. They are pre-product. They are looking for capital, pre-revenue. Thank you. They're looking for capital from...
No, both. They're both pre-revenue and pre-product.
That's right. They're looking for capital from venture capitalists, like accredited investors who will give them big chunks of money in exchange for equity in the company. And often they are looking for money from you, a retail investor who will buy their token based on hype and thinking they're getting in early. 99%, this is not an exaggeration, of these companies will go to zero. It may happen in 1 year, it may happen in 5 years, it may happen in 10 years, but most of them will go to zero and the tokens you hold will become worthless. So that's the first thing you have to understand, is that you are investing in a terribly risky arena that, like Will said, most people are bad at this.
Rugged. Did Evan just rug, or is it oh, I can't hear you anymore. Oh, because my phone's muted.
It's $10 tokens, you know, $10 distributed across a million tokens is a lot smaller. It's like $0.00001. Similarly, the price of a token is not necessarily a reflection of the company's value. If the price of a token that Alex created, let's say he created a token with a supply of, I don't know, $1 million in this pot, that's not a reflection that this token is really worth $1 million. That's a reflection that Alex knows how to do math. stories, how comparing price is not helpful, how most of these are venture style investments, and therefore you should be aggressive in taking your profit, as Alex said. And when you're looking at price targets, don't think so much about, price fantasies in the future. Think more about the price at which you bought it. Based on what the company may or may not do, how much hype they have, where the price could reasonably go, where the market cap could reasonably go, what similar companies have done. If you're looking at a Disney type crypto company, then you would want to compare it to a Netflix or a Hulu, an ESPN. You would not compare it to Ford Motor Company. You see what I'm saying? Alex, I'm trying to give context to that buy low, sell high thing. Do you have other helpful tips, maybe around price targets or around